Yeah, so you can see behind me we have a VN SS Group A, I think maybe it's a technical term, SV. For my Holden followers, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it's 1990. I haven't checked that, but I'm pretty sure these are 1990. So the VN SS, obviously Holden had the VN SS at the time, and if everyone remembers Group A regulations, this is probably one of the last cars to be homologated for Group A touring car racing. And you needed to, manufacture a certain amount. I believe the proposed amount was supposed to be 500 at the time, but I believe only 300 VN Group A's were actually built. So Holden always gets their way. Back in the day, it was always seen to lean towards them, and I think Cam's made a special. They sort of made a special agreement and let them not fulfil the whole 500, but which in terms of today means that there's only 300 of these around, and I think this is number 80 or 81 of the 300. So yeah, and the reason you probably everyone knows I'm a Ford guy, but doing these cars brings me back to 90s touring car days, and even this car probably, as cool as it is, and as much as it was one of the cars to have in the 90s in terms of street cars, it didn't fare too well on the track back in the days, because you're going up against the GDR Skylines, Ford Sierras. So even though there's some wicked videos going around with Peter Brock muscling one of these around Bathurst, which is probably one of the coolest videos I've ever seen on the internet in terms of Bathurst. I might find the link and I'll leave it in the description for those that maybe are looking from abroad and you want to know a bit more about how this car relates to touring car racing in Australia. I'll put a link in there, because it's an awesome video to see Brocky behind one of these and going around Bathurst. So and that's that's the reason why I love to do these cars, because it brings me back to the 90s. Brings me back to 90s touring car, where I reckon it was the peak of Australian touring car racing. The 90s was the best, all the way through up until the late 90s. The cars were cool, the racing was cool, the guys who drove them were cool. So when you get a car with some racing pedigree in the shop, it's always a bit of a fan favourite for me, and I love doing them, and I love being associated with that sort of vehicle. And one thing I did notice on this car is once I do a walk around and that, I'll show you. I've been around these cars a long time, but I've just noticed, I probably noticed it, but never really comes from, is the side cut out for the exhaust on the side skirts. I think that's pretty cool to see, and that is that racing, look to the car. Obviously I think from my research, the VN was supposed to be a better presented or better appealing look-wise car than the VL was, and I think that's what affected it in Bathurst, because it probably looked nicer than the VL, but ultimately it wasn't any faster. It was probably faster in top speed or straight line speed, but it lacked a bit of downforce because they've changed the front end and a bit of the rear, and they probably lost a bit of downforce. I don't know how much of that is true, but it definitely wasn't the fastest car around Bathurst in its day. So my old man used to call, especially the VL, probably used to call it the Tupperware kit, and I think because of all the plastic and all that sort of stuff, and I think there are a lot of other nicknames like that going around for this car back in the time. So yeah, it's a cool car, and I guess what also makes it cool, you see the little bubble here, and that is for the twin throttle body manifold, which now are worth a lot of money. So that's what also makes this car pretty cool, to see you know, those sort of things that were put on the car for the time. So in terms of power, I don't think it was. It was for the days probably good. It was 260 odd kilowatts, I think, coming from the 5 litre, 6-speed manual. But yeah, it's just a nice, it just brings me back to the 90s. Cool car, that racing heritage going through it. And yeah, so this one's, the interior's immaculate on this. It's done 70 odd thousand. The paint has been touched up previously and just recently as well. And just bring it up to scratch and making it look nice and presentable for its owner. And yeah. So yeah, there you go, guys. A little bit of, if I've missed anything, if there's things on this car that you think are quite unique that I may have missed, or leave a comment and let us know, because I'm always keen to hear. I was a Ford guy, especially in those 90s. There was, we envied this sort of car, not so much on the track, but out in the world, out in the street world. So there's always that Ford-hate relationship. So I mean, if I was talking about Fords, I'd probably know more of the inner details of them. But these, I'm just picking them up as I go along, and the more I do these cars, the more I research them, and the more I just try to find a bit of info about them, and I always find out something new. So if there's something I missed, or something you think that's important about this car, the VM Group A, or even other cars related to it, let us know, especially 90s touring cars if you're a fan. Like and subscribe to this channel, because you never know what you're going to see. We'll hopefully do a lot more like this as well. So I hope you enjoy it as much as I did, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers, guys.